Welcome to my show. A guest here. Her name is Dr. Laura Sicola. Dr. Laura, how are you doing, ma?
I am wonderful, Temi. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Laura, for the opportunity. Firstly, you are a leadership communication coach. You are also an author and a podcast host. Can you please, Dr. Laura, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Dr. Laura?
Thank you. Yes, I have always been an educator. I was a teacher for many years. Then I was a university professor. And for the last 17 years, I have been working as an executive coach, a communications coach, a leadership coach for corporate and nonprofit organizations around the world. And my focus is always about uh, how we speak and what changes when what we say and how we say it and how that impacts what others hear, what others understand, what others feel, and most importantly, how they respond. So if we understand that connection, then we understand maybe why they didn't respond the way we wanted to and how we can adapt, how we can change our communication so that they respond the way we want them to respond and we hear yes more often.
Yes, communication is very, very important. When someone knows
Yes.
how to communicate, that person will definitely have a lot of influence because the communication will definitely attract more people to their side. And from the experience you had in this communication you've been doing for a lot of years now, have you written any book regarding to that, or are you planning to write any book in the coming future, Dr. Laura?
Yes, I definitely have. Of course, in the past, when I was at the university, I had to do research and I published some more academic books there. But a few years ago, I published the book Speaking to Influence, Mastering Your Leadership Voice. And this is meant for all people to read, not just academics and students. It is intended to be like a how-to. So if you are frustrated that you're not as effective as you want to be, you don't have as much influence as you want to have, you want to speak with more confidence, you want people to sit up and take notice and pay attention when you speak, this is the book that will help you do that.
That book will be a very powerful one, honestly speaking, because it will definitely give someone the insight that are needed to, improve his or our communication skills. Because if the communication is there, then the influence will definitely come in. We
Yes.
definitely know that communication, when communication is strong enough, when someone knows how to communicate to a point, then someone could, guide to the point of being a coach, from being a coach, even getting in the point of speaking in the third area today. So, what do you feel like are the key elements that make a TEDx talk truly memorable, Dr. Laura?
I think there's an expression that I heard recently that a good speaker tells you their story. A great speaker tells you your story. And what that means is a truly good storyteller is someone who shares information, shares stories in a way that, as the listener, you can see yourself in that experience. Even if it's something from a country or an industry that is totally different from yours, somehow you still relate to the emotions, to the concerns, to the challenges. There's something in there that you can connect with. So a truly good TED talk, all of the best TED talks have one core theme. So what is their one key point that by the end of it, you will understand this one idea and they will lead you with lots of different examples and stories, sometimes their own story, sometimes stories about other people or other situations or other examples, but it all adds pieces to the puzzle to eventually drive home that focus point from start to finish.
Completely agree. That's what you said. Honestly speaking, Dr. Lara is very, very powerful. when someone is focusing on that specific topic when giving the communication, then the
Yeah.
person or the audience will definitely know where they're going. Like this is what it's talking about, not that the communication dives to another point or another point or another point that will make them really uncomfortable or confused. So focusing on a specific area or a specific probably topic will definitely help in a long way. And probably we do not know, probably the person could get to a point, even I myself, when I even started the podcast, it usually happen where they will get to a point where they are really nervous or probably they are scared.
Mm,
And nervousness, honestly speaking, is very powerful. When
of course.
nervousness is there, you could just get there and everything will just fly away. You will not just one will just not remember anything. So nervousness is very powerful. So how do you feel? What do you think that one can, technique you think someone can do to
Mm,
manage nervousness or probably nervousness before speaking? And I also like to dive to the point of body language. How do you think
mm.
someone can also manage their body language when giving this communication during those type of talk, Dr. Laura?
So there's a lot packed into that question. So let's break it down a little bit. The So first, as far as TED Talks are concerned, that's one very specific and unique kind of public speaking context, excuse me. Of course, there's presenting it at your work or presenting to your class in school, or there's many other kinds of speaking engagements, virtually and in person. I've given 3 TED Talks, and I have coached I don't even know how many people through various TED Talks. I used to coach for the TED organization. So I've learned many skills that I've shared with my clients over the years. My main TED Talk has about 7 million views. So I certainly invite your listeners to please go out and join the rest and listen. I would love to hear feedback. But nerves, I think that I have a 4 word secret for confident public speaking. And very simply, that 4 word secret is it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about them. When we get up there as speakers, we get really nervous. Why? Because it's not that we're afraid of public speaking. We are afraid of public judgment. We are afraid of public rejection and public scrutiny. So we sit there and we think to ourselves, oh my gosh, I hope I don't forget what I want to say. I hope they don't ask a question I can't answer. I hope I don't make a mistake. I hope the floor doesn't open up and swallow me whole. There's we worry so much, and it's all self-centered fear, right? What about me? What about me? What about me? What about me? But the average audience doesn't think like that. The average audience doesn't listen and think to themselves, let me get a red pen and sit here and wait to see how many mistakes she makes. Dr. Laura is a communication person. Let me see how many times she says, or, or like, or how many times I'm not going to mark any grammar mistakes that they don't care. You don't care. The audience, anyone who's out there listening to this right now, that's not your mindset when you tune into Temi's show, correct? Of course not. What is the average audience, and universally, not just every audience is focused on one thing: receiving value. They join, they listen to a podcast, they watch a TED talk, listen to a meeting, and they go, I hope this is useful. I hope it's interesting. I hope the speaker is good. I hope it is a valuable use of my time. I hope I like it. It's all self centered. And that's good. That's okay. That's why you choose to come, because you anticipate value. Otherwise, you would go someplace else. So, as the speaker, your job is not to focus on yourself, it is to focus on fulfilling the needs of the audience. If the audience is thinking, I hope this is useful, I hope it is a good use of my time, I hope it is interesting, okay, then speaker, focus your efforts on giving the audience the best value possible. If you were in the audience, who is the speaker you would want to listen to on your topic? Be that speaker. Be the speaker you would want to listen to. Provide value, content, stories, energy. that you would want to see if you had to listen instead of speak? Put yourself in their shoes. That's really the key to confident public speaking.
Honestly, that is very, very powerful, Dr. Laura. If someone can definitely put themselves in other people's shoes and definitely come out and say, I am speaking to them, I'm not, that self is gone already. Now you are focusing on them. Then I don't feel like there will be any nervousness or fear that will come. It's only
Yeah.
when someone starts to think, how will I do this? How would they feel? How would they do that? And that's when that nervousness starts to come in. So we have to just stick to that point of I am getting a topic, I am speaking to them, and I am definitely going there to add values. I am not there to start to, change topic or stuff like that that could definitely convince them in one way or the other. I'm just
Mhm.
there for this. I am going to focus on that, and definitely, I hope it definitely goes well. If that can work out, I honestly speaking, I don't think there should be any need for any nervousness or any fear because you are just speaking to them from your own personal heart. And any question will definitely come out. You want to say something?
I do. Yes, one piece I want to add to that. It's so there's a difference between nervousness and fear. And that's an important line to draw. There should be no fear when we focus on the generosity to the audience. But nervousness that we perceive, that we experience as butterflies in our stomach, that little twisting feeling in our stomach, right? That is okay. That's not terrible. We don't want to kill the butterflies in our stomach. There's the day that you feel nothing before speaking to an audience about an important topic. If you feel nothing in your stomach, you're in the wrong place. That means you've lost your passion. That means you don't care about what you're talking about. So a little bit of adrenaline is good. It's healthy. It means you're passionate about what you're talking about. It means you have high standards and you want to do a good job. That is healthy adrenaline. So we want a little bit of butterflies flying around. We just don't want the butterflies to take over the farm. So we don't want to be controlled by those. Your body does not know the difference between adrenaline that is from nervousness and adrenaline that is from excitement. Your body doesn't know the difference. It's just adrenaline. So, where we have an important choice to make is the message that we tell ourselves when we start to feel that adrenaline. If we feel the butterflies, we feel the heart start to race a little bit, we feel the palms get a little bit sweaty, and then we say to ourselves, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, I'm so nervous, I'm so nervous. You're going to make it worse for yourself. Psychologically, you will increase as a result because you'll be telling your body to get ready to run so you don't get eaten by a bear or something like that. But if you feel that start to kick in and you say, I'm so excited, I'm so excited, this is such a great opportunity, I want to do a good job, I can't wait to share this information with them because I know it's going to make a difference with them. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It channels your energy in a much healthier way so that you can use it and not let it use you. Does that make sense?
That definitely makes sense. Honestly speaking, Dr. Lara, we definitely need to just make people understand communication. Most especially to a lot of people is definitely not easy. But it's just like if someone can understand it, as you said, nervousness should be a drive to push you, to give the positivity, to give the energy, then to give back again. One should
Yes.
not just use it. The most issue is fear. Fear is just the issue. When fear is there, that means that thinking of oneself, that is where fear comes in. But
Mm.
nervousness should be a point where someone should be more motivated, more driven to push his or herself to satisfy the audience on that particular topic he or she wants to go through so that he will not just he or she will not flip to another place. So honestly speaking, that is a very, very big insight. And I would also like to dive to if there is any, probably you feel like we know that we spoke about, nervousness, fear, and how someone can be driven. Someone should focus on a specific topic. But do you feel like there's still any other mistake you feel people make when, trying to make some very big speeches like that, and you probably feel like they should try to avoid it, Dr. Laura?
Definitely. The most common one, or one of the most common ones that I often see, is that also driven by the fear, driven by the ego and wanting to look good in front of everyone else. We uh, often people will try to use as many big words as possible. They try to give as much technical detail and show their expertise and show how smart they are so that they feel like they make a good impression on the audience. But when we try too hard to use all that technical language and vocabulary and all of those technical details, most of it goes over people's heads and is very dense and very hard for the listener to process. And so the main message that the listeners take away at the end is, wow, I guess that speaker is really smart. I have no idea what they said, but they seem like they are really smart. That's what I learned from this, is that you are smart. That doesn't help me at all. Instead, and this is so counterintuitive to me, is that the best way to make someone believe that you are smart is to tell your story, to explain your point in a way that is so crystal clear that the meaning and the intention is obvious to the other person. So they go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. You make them feel smart by simplifying your message so that anyone can understand it. And if you can do that for them, then they think you are smart.
Mhm.
But you have to go the opposite direction.
Honestly, that means big grammars are not really probably a right choice. Big grammar that doesn't have so that takes a long time for someone to probably understand what it definitely means. One has to just keep it simple. Use the
Mm.
best word that one will definitely understand as fast as they can, and they're gonna say, "Wow, that was very, very powerful." Not bringing some big grammar, big stuff that will definitely make people like, "What's the saying there? What's the saying there?" Definitely that would definitely drive them to feel like one is definitely smart when someone makes it simple. Thank you so much for that insight, Dr. Lara. Lastly, Dr. Lara, I do not know, do you feel or do you think there are some, how do you feel like someone can probably, I do not know if there are probably features that people look at, but some big events like that, TEDx events now, how do you feel people get selected, or what do you think they look at for people to get selected on a very big communication event like that, Dr. Laura?
The world of TED Talks has evolved a lot in the last 20 to 30 years or more. TED Talks have been around for a very long time. It just has only really exploded in the last probably 10 to 15 years. Um, so it's challenging now because so many topics have been addressed many, many times over. So the challenge is really, what can you share that is different? In topics like stress management or gender and racial and whatever equity in the workplace or engineering or environmental preservation or something. What are you going to talk about for 10 to 15 minutes or so that has that one point? Remember, a good TED Talk has one focal takeaway point. What is your one point that no one has discussed yet in the millions of TEDx talks that are out there? That's the challenge. And if you can come up with something that is unique and a really hot topic today, then you have a better chance of getting accepted. So the world has changed a lot. I've given 3 TED Talks, but for all of them, I was invited to speak, so I did not have to apply. Most of TED events now, they'll put out a call for speakers and everyone applies for it. So I don't know who the judges are or what criteria they're looking for. If there is a theme for the conference, for the TED event, and they want all of them to have a particular focus or angle or unified word, in them. I don't know. So you have to do your research on the event and then hope that your application is better than others. But the real key is what's your one thing that's just different enough that no one has done it yet?
That one is going to take a lot of a lot of time to get. Honestly speaking, millions of speak and to get one thing. I hope it
Yes.
definitely work. I can't say much about that, honestly speaking, but it's huge. It's huge. That shows that that person has to be so smart, honestly speaking. So I want to, lastly, Dr. Laura, there's a
Mhm.
question I normally ask during the end of the show. From our forefathers, there are a lot of things that do exist during our forefathers' time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Dr. Laura, what do you think that thing will be, Dr. Laura?
The ability to focus and monotask and be fully present with other people. When you think about come first of all, so many families nowadays don't even meet for dinner regularly, if ever. Everybody's going to different sports or events or something else. So it's very hard for people to come together. And when they do come together, the TV is on, or everyone is staring at their phones, or they're thinking about something. Just to be fully present, talking to each other, asking questions, learning about each other's days, helping and supporting, and taking a genuine interest in whoever is there in front of you in the moment. And it's not even just families. If you go to lunch with a business colleague, everyone still has their phones, they're checking things, they're looking at their watch, trying to see how much time they have left. It's so hard to just be fully present to the person who's right in front of you. I would love to see that come back.
Hmm. Family, community, all those things have really, really faded. We do know that technology is great, but definitely no, there's nothing that do have advantage that doesn't have its disadvantage. So that was a
Yes.
disadvantage. And I'm definitely sure during that time, no one will ever believe that it will get to this point, honestly speaking. And
Uh,
it's just like this. Honestly speaking, we do hope for the best in the coming future, definitely.
yes.
Dr. Lara, I want to sincerely thank you for the opportunity and the time on speaking on the communication. I'll have to be honest, from the beginning, it was really tough. The way you were just throwing the question, I was like, hey, haven't I gotten into a trouble? But honestly speaking, it was really, really massive. Thank you so much for the opportunity and the time, Dr. Lara.
It was my pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Temi.
All right, bye bye.